Good day, everyone. Today we are diving into a fascinating world of linguistics. Okay, so language, of course, is something we use every single day. We use it to communicate with other people. So it's how we share our thoughts, how we express ourselves, our cultures, and connect to another people or one another. But have you ever stopped to wonder how it actually works under the hood? Why do languages sound the way they do? How do our brains process these words so quickly? And how do meanings shift from time or over time or across different communities? No? How do meanings, shift over time or across different communities? Linguistics is not just about learning rules or studying a single language, guys. It is a scientific study of language itself. Over this course, we will be discussing more of linguistics. We are going to unpack, of course, the structures, patterns, and psychology behind human speech and communication. So let us start it with the introduction to linguistics. So I welcome you to Introduction to Linguistics. This course serves as your gateway to understanding the scientific framework behind human language. So rather than focusing or how to speak a specific language, guys, we will examine the universal architect of communication, including, of course, how speech sounds are produced, which has something to do with phonetics, how sentences are structured, syntax, and how meaning is constructed, semantics, and pragmatics. So, through this exploration, guys, you will gain a deeper appreciation for the beautiful system that shapes human interaction. So let's have this. Let's have the second slide. So this is an overview of Introduction to Linguistics. Says there, the word linguistics has been derived from the Latin words lingua, meaning tongue, and of course, istics, meaning knowledge or science. So linguistics is often described simply as the scientific study of language. But instead of just teaching how you to speak a specific language, linguistic looks under the hood to figure out how human language actually works as a system. So here, linguistics is defined as scientific study of language. So it says there under the hood. What does it mean? So rather than focusing on fluency, guys, or teaching someone how to speak a specific language, linguistics acts like mechanics for communication. It tears language down to its foundational components to understand how human language actually works as a complex or interconnected system. So I have given you here in this slide the origin, okay, of linguistic. The word itself, the word is derived from the Latin lingua, meaning tongue, and the suffix "istics," signifying a field of language science or study. Therefore, guys, etymologically, it is the scientific of the tongue or speech. Okay? So take note. Designing better methods for literacy and second language acquisition. So we have to know this. Examine how language reflects cultural identity, social hierarchies, and human evaluation. So take note from this slide, all of this. Okay, we will be discussing more on this later on. So there is a core belief in linguistics, guys, that underneath all the varying vocabulary and grammar rules, human languages share fundamental structural and cognitive principles that conform to how human mind operates. So let's have the third slide. It says there linguistics as a science language. So, linguistics can be defined as the scientific or systematic study of language. It is a science in the sense that it is systematically studies the rules, system, and principles of human languages. This was mentioned a while ago. Then think of a language like a complex machine. It has its own mechanics, sounds, guys, its own structure engineering, like the grammar, and its own programming interface, which is the meaning. So let's clarify what linguistics actually investigates. So if you take the Latin word lingua, which means tongue, and istics implies a science, so quite literally, we are looking at the science of speech and language. So a common misconception is that a linguist is simply someone who speaks a lot of languages. While many do, our primary goal is not just it's not just guys to teach you, of course, how to speak a new tongue. Instead, as the slide notes here, we want you to look under the hood. We want you to treat language like an engine, taking it apart to see how the system functions. What makes this field incredibly exciting is how interconnected it is with other disciplines, guys. So if you are interested in psychology, for example, linguistics helps us understand the human mind. So if you are into sociology or anthropology, it reveals how communities forms identities. So even in technology, guys, the field like computer science rely on computational linguistics to make devices understand human speech. So ultimately, guys, while languages across the globe sounds vastly different on the surface, they all share an underlying blueprint governed by human cognition. So in this course, guys, we are going to explore that blueprint. Okay? So now, the core subfields of linguistics to study something as massive as human language, linguists break it down into several specialized layers, moving from the smallest physical sound up to the complex social interaction. So we have here phonetics, okay? Phonetics, phonology, morphology, syntax, and semantics. So what do we mean when we say phonetics? What it studies, of course, would be the physical sounds. And the core questions here would be, how do our vocal cords, tongue, and lips physically shape a sound? For phonology, it has something to do with sound patterns. How do those sounds function as a system inside a specific language? And for morphology, word structure. How do we build words out of smaller pieces of meaning like roots, prefixes, and suffixes? And for syntax, it has something to do with sentence structure. What are the structure rules for grouping words together into legal grammatical sentences? And for the last one is what we call semantics, which has something to do with literal meaning. What do words and what do words and sentences mean exactly, stripped of context? So how does social context now do something with this, no? Okay, has something to do with this. So here, okay, the bottom half of the presentation, the slide uses the excellent engineering analogy. So we have break the language down like a complex machine here. So we have there the mechanics, which is the sounds, phonetic or phonology. So this is the, as I mentioned, physical, something to do with physical sound. So this is the physical moving part of the machine. It deals with how our vocal cords, tongue, and lips physically produce sounds and how those sounds combine patterns form words. So this is under phonetics, okay? And then or phonology. And for another structure is the structural engineering, wherein it has something to do with morphology, the grammar, morphology, and syntax. This is now the framework that keeps the machine now together. It dictates how words are built, no? Are built from smaller pieces, this morphology, and how those words must be ordered to build stable, logical sentences, which has something to do now with syntax. Now, for the programming interface, this has something to do now with meaning or semantics, pragmatics. So this is the software now that makes the hardware useful. So without code, of course, a machine does nothing without meaning. So speech is just, of course, it will just be a noise, or it's just a noise, no, or just noise. So this area covers how words convey literal concepts, so semantics, and how context changes now, how we interpret those concepts, which is now the pragmatics. So next, let's have another one. So linguistics as a science language. So what does it mean when we speak of language as linguistic as a science language? Linguistics, as I mentioned, can be defined as a systematic or as a scientific or systematic study of language. So it's a science. It is a science in the sense that it is scientifically studies the rules, systems, and principles of human languages. So think of the language like a complex machine, as I have mentioned a while ago. So I have discussed this one already. So let's have this. So, okay. So definition of language according to the famous, okay, according to the famous linguist and theorist. So uh, we have here Noam Chomsky, the generative or the cognitive view. So Noam Chomsky shifted the field toward cognitive science, viewing language as innate biological, and mathematical faculty of human mind. And before, you know, guys, before Chomsky, many of course psychologists believe children learn language purely through imitations and of course reward. So like different, like for example, training, no, like training an animal. So Chomsky here found the Chomsky fundamentally challenged this, and he argued that language is an innate biological and mathematical faculty of human mind. And just as birds, for example, no, just as birds are biologically programmed to grow wings and fly, Chomsky argued that human also beings are born with a biological predisposition to acquire language. That is for Chomsky. And he said here his definition of language is that from now on, I will consider a language to be a set, finite or infinite, of sentences, each finite in length and constructed out of finite set of elements. So to Chomsky, language is a cognitive structure system. Human possess an innate universal grammar, a mental blueprint that allows us to generate an infinite number of grammatically correct sentences from limited vocabulary. Okay, so take note of this, guys. The definition and how Noam Chomsky define what language is. No? Okay, so this definition treats language like algebraic system. So we have a finite, limited, and the number of sounds and vocabulary words. However, guys, by using structural rules, we can combine those limited pieces to generate an infinite number of entirely unique sentences. Okay, that is for Chomsky. Okay, and then we have here another famous one, Ferdinand de Saussure, structural semiotic view, so often called the father of modern linguistics. Okay, for him, language is a system of signs that express ideas and is therefore comparable to a system of writing, the alphabet of deaf mutes, symbolic rites, polite formulas, military signals, and so on, etc. But it is the most important of all of these systems. Okay, so he focused on the relational nature of language. A language is a social contract. It's a social contract made of signs, where each sign is combination of a sound, image, the signifier, and a concept, the signified, held together purely by community agreement. Okay, that is according to Ferdinand. Okay, okay. What else? Okay, according to Ferdinand, also, take note, no? Ferdinand is widely considered the father of modern linguistics because he shifted the field away from simply tracing historical language changes, okay, toward analyzing language as a self-contained structure system at a specific point in time. Okay, and in his slide, because he has this semiotic view, okay, wherein he said there that language is a system of signs that express ideas and is therefore comparable to a system of writing. The alphabet of mutes symbolic rites, polite formulas, military signals, etc. But it is the most important of all of the system. So here, he placed linguistics under the broader umbrella of semiotics, the study of signs and symbols. So he also argued that words are just one type of sign, just as military signal, flare, or a polite handshake transmit a specific message based on social rules. Language is a system of vocal signs used to transmit thoughts. Okay? He argued that a linguistic sign is two-sided, psychologically entity connecting two things. He mentioned here the signifier and the signified. So the signifier is the sound image. So the physical form of the sign, the sound waves we make when we say a word. For example, the spoken sound dog, like D-O-G, or the marks on a page. And the signified, it's the concept, the mental idea or concept triggered in our head when we encounter the signifier. So, for example, the mental picture of a four-legged barking animal. So it gives us a concept of what is this kind of animal. Okay? And then here, what else? Okay, we have to take note that, okay, so we have mentioned about the signifier and the signified. Okay, that's it. Maybe you could move on to the next slide. According to Edward, let's have this view of Edward, functional view, an influential American anthropologist and linguist. So he viewed language through a cultural and human centric lens. So language for him is a purely human and non instinctive method of communicating ideas, emotions, and desires by means of a system of voluntarily produced symbols. So he emphasized here that language is an acquired cultural tool, not a biological instinct like breathing or walking. It's so hot here, guys. He believed that language heavily influences how culture perceives reality, a concept later known as his hypothesis already, Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. Okay, so these are some of those definitions of language according to this famous linguist. Okay, so that's our Edward. Okay, take note, guys, na that what do we need to know about Edward? Okay, about his definition of language when he said language is purely. Notice that his definition intends far beyond passing code uh, back and back and forth. He emphasizes here that we use language functionally to communicate human emotions and desires. So take note also from his theories that communication relies on symbols like sounds, words, and gestures that we voluntarily choose to produce, to express an internal state rather than involuntarily automatic biological reactions, like, for example, crying from pain or coughing. Okay, that's it about for Edward. Let's move on to another slide. This one is from Leonard Bloomfield. He is a leader of American structural linguistics in the mid 20th century, and his definition of language is that the totality of utterances that can be made in speech community in the language of that speech community. Okay, so influenced by behaviorism. So Bloomfield rejected looking at internal mental state. He defined language strictly by what could be physically observed, recorded, and categorized. The actual spoken utterances produced by a group of people. That this is according to Leonard. Okay, so and so what do we need to take to remember in his definition about language? Okay, um, we have to take note that when he say the totality of utterances that can be made in a speech community is the language of that speech community. So meaning here that language is not an abstract mental blueprint or psychological concept. It is literally, guys, just the sum total of every spoken phrase, sentence, and noise. So, since it's an utterance physically produced by a specific group of people, that's why we have their community. Okay, so it was his thought was influenced by behaviorism. So here he argued that we cannot peer inside someone's mind to see their thoughts. Therefore, linguists should stop guessing about mental rules or abstract concepts. Instead, they must define language strictly by what can be physically observed, recorded, and categorized, the actual spoken utterances produced by a group of people. Okay? And here we have also Henry Sweet. Okay? So it's another linguist. Okay, so I think that's the last one. So his definition of language is that language may be defined as the expression of thought by means of speech sounds combined into words, words being combined into sentences. This combination answering to that of ideas into thoughts. Okay, so this is according to Henry Henry Sweet. Okay, take note, guys, no? Henry Sweet was an influential English philologist, okay, an investigator of historical language and literary texts. So he mentioned here his definition, wherein Sweet explicitly connects physical speech to cognitive thoughts. He argues that language here functions as a direct reflection of human psychology. Single speech sounds represent isolated pieces of concept which combine into full words, ideas which then combine into full sentences, which is full sentences which could be complete thoughts, of course, because sentences expresses complete thoughts. Okay, so these are some of those definition of language according to this famous linguist. Okay? And to sum it up, the summary of perspective according to these theories, Chomsky, Saussure, Safar, and Bloomfield. So I have here a template wherein you could browse it and you could read. Okay, take note of their idea about language. So I hope you learned something for today's discussion. Okay, goodbye, guys. Ay, nako, ang ingay.